welcome to another edition of Talk Nerd to Me. I am Troy, your host, and I have a very special local New Mexico guest on with me today. It's Mr. Mark Fenton. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. Thanks.
All right. You came by the shop, Zia Comics, when I had to be one of my few days off, and you dropped off a really cool foil signed SpaceCooler. But what was even cooler is you dropped off an Ashcan that has a bunch of your upcoming stuff in that. So I'm going to start there with the Ashcan. Can you tell me about just the cover here?
Sure. So the cover, and that's Steve Irwin on the art. The cover was, and this book, I guess I got to start in the beginning. So this book was the original, like the first comic that I was going to publish, and it's essentially the superhero that's hit rock bottom and he's got to find his way back up. And originally had Thomas Tenney as the artist on board, and Thomas is famous for Forceworks back when it first came out in the 90s, 80s. He was the original artist on Forceworks, and his schedule he couldn't keep up, getting the pages done. So I kind of talked to some other artists, and we have a new artist on board. Steve Irwin did the cover, and we'll see if he'll do some more covers for us. Just because I really love Steve. He's got that 80s look, 90s look to me of superhero type stuff. So each of the Ashcans, and I did a bunch of these, has a different cover. So you got the down cover, there's a SpaceCooler cover, there's an Adrift cover, there's a vampire cover for something that Jacob, who's doing Adrift with me, and I were working on. So each Ashcan is a different cover. They've got pretty much the same material in them, but it may be mixed up. Like yours may have, something from Adrift first. Another one may have something else. It may have like a different saying. Like I tried to drop some sayings in the front there from Neil Gaiman, some other people like that. Just as like an intro into the book.
I mean, it's even numbered here, 105.
Yeah, so you got one of the 5 that we did for Steve Irwin. Yep.
Wow. Well, thank you. I feel privileged. And I'm just going to leaf through this page by page, and we'll talk about what's in here. First up is the foil comic that you actually brought to the store, SpaceCooler.
Yep.
So you got Jimmy Palmiotti.
So yeah, so,
Nice.
So the good thing is that I have a lot of friends, that are pros in the industry, and the bad thing was when we did the Kickstarter, then we had like 4 covers, and going into it, I didn't think of what the cost is going to be to do all these different covers and foil covers and and everything else. So so those 2 are covers. So there's a Jimmy Palmiotti cover. There's an Andy Coon cover, which is the one that you got, the foil. Yeah, so that's the Andy Coon with the Crowbar Killer. Yep. And then Victor Santos did a cover for me. If you're familiar with Polar on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
That's his comic. So he did a cover for us. And then there's the Brian Rogers, the artist on the book. His cover is in there as well. So there's 4 different covers for issue 1.
Wow. And we'll get more in depth on the SpaceCooler later, but I just wanted to point out to everybody, Andy Coon, also New Mexico native.
He's here in Albuquerque. Yep.
And I believe he's probably a little busy right now on The Last Ronin. Isn't he doing the art for The Last Ronin?
Yeah. So yeah, if you watch the San Diego Comic Con, they did it online this year with the pre-recorded sessions. Yeah. So Kevin Eastman announced actually that Andy dropped off from that.
Oh.
So yeah. So Andy's not.
Yeah,
Andy's not doing the stuff. He did the Ashcan. So if you saw that oversized Ashcan, he did that. But yeah,
because his artwork is perfect for turtles. So
yeah, he's got that cartoony kind of look to it.
Right. Okay. And this that's a page from SpaceCooler, so I'm not going to show that one. But this here is a page from Adrift, and you sent me the digital copy of Adrift. And I gotta say, man, that and SpaceCooler, both of them ended leaving me wanting more. So you're doing a good job there. But is it okay if I show these pages?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The Kickstarter wrapped on Adrift. So
okay, yeah. So this is a page from Adrift. I think it's not the first page, I don't believe, but it's, or is it?
Yeah, it is. I think it is.
It is.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about Adrift?
Sure. So Adrift, the artist on there is Jacob Jürgen, and he's in Mexico. He's a professor there. He's worked on some DC stuff for Blue Beetle and Flash. He did some Wildstorm stuff as well. So he loves comics. He loves drawing comics. And we wanted to do something together. And so I was just like, what if we do this Fantasy Island / Hostile type of story? And he was all for it. So it was great. He was like, I want to do that. He's like, are we going to get gory? And I'm like, we can get as some gory, but we can't go, over the top type of stuff because we want to sell the book. But, so yeah. So it's that, it's like a Hostile / Fantasy Island type of thing.
That's the perfect way to describe it. And how did you settle on the name Adrift rather than Assassination Island?
So it's weird. Like whenever I work on comics, like for some reason I always come up with like a one-word title. So Down is the superhero book, SpaceCooler is the other book. Adrift is that book. And we kind of, like, when I thought about it, it's just like if you're adrift, you're kind of out there. You don't really have a destination. You're just kind of, in the moment and you're just there. And I just felt like that with the book, like that's kind of what it is. Like the main character is just kind of adrift and she's got to find her way to get back on track.
All right, we'll accept that. Okay, these, I'm not sure which book that's for, but I'm really loving this artwork right here.
So the artwork that you're pointing at, that's by Ben Dunn. And so my first published work this year came out, like, it was supposed to come out in January. I think it got pushed back to like March. So Brian Rogers, the artist on SpaceCooler, and I did a story for Antarctic Press Planet Comics, which they brought back. So issue 1, we did a short story in it, and that picture was supposed to be the variant cover for issue 2, but apparently they didn't use it. I own the original art for that, but apparently they didn't use that cover, which kind of surprised me, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I really, really dig that artwork. And which book was that for again?
So that was for Planet Comics.
Comics.
Yeah, it was popular, I guess, like back in the 50s, 60s. And then the IP was public, so Antarctic Press grabbed it and then tried to relaunch it this year along with Jungle Comics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And how about this artwork? It's more sketch.
So the one on your left, that is the cover. That's the cover for Adrift by Victor Santos.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the sketch cover that he sent me first to approve. The book and then the page on the other side is from a book that I was working on that's coming, but it's coming slower than the other ones. And that one is The Chosen. So that one has two words in the title. So.
Well, you ignore the. So.
Yeah. So,
Actually, you could just drop and just call it Chosen.
Yeah. So that one's a Chosen, and that one's like a sci-fi. Essentially, aliens, come to Earth, and they've been probing and taking our people and looking at them and dissecting them, and they determine that humans make a better warrior than they do for fighting. So they attack the Earth, and they don't let us know that we could beat them. But and the humans fear that, and they're freaked out about aliens. The aliens essentially work out a deal, and they leave vials of their blood, and so X amount of babies are chosen every year to be injected with this, and some survive, some don't. Those that do survive are trained at a special school, and then they're sent back to the aliens to be used as their warriors.
That's an interesting concept, actually.
So it follows, basically the story follows a group of 5 of these kids that go to this training and go on, and some of them give in and are just like, well, this is my life now, this is what I have to do. Some of them try to come back to Earth and reveal what's really happening. So I think it's a fun story, and it touches different pieces as far as what happens with this person that just decides that, hey, this is my life now, I can't, I'm stuck here, I'm not able to go back to Earth, or the ones that try to fight to get back to Earth to really reveal what's happening.
Wow. And then the rest is just a lot more sketch work for the
the ones we didn't want to give away a whole lot, because the Kickstarter hadn't come out yet when we made the Ashcan. So
there's a lot of good teasers in there. That was the snack. Now let's get into the meat. SpaceCooler. And this is the Andy Coon cover, correct?
It is, yes. That's the Andy Coon cover.
This character, and I love the car. This character, I wanted to see so much about him.
Yeah.
But in issue 1, you're not really going to get to see much about this guy.
Yeah. It's always tough, issue 1s are that set the table and
right.
kind of put everybody in their spots and get them to where where you need to be. Issue 2, we get a flashback of his history and what he's done, and what got him to the prison. So
well, we haven't even told everybody what this is about yet. They don't know about the prison, so I'll let you go ahead and give us the premise for SpaceCooler.
Sure. So in the semi near future, basically it's decided that major crimes are no longer accepted, here on the Earth, and with each of the countries and stuff. So they basically they've evolved. Space travel isn't that big of an issue anymore. So they build this space station and send it up there, and it's built to be a prison. And they decide that every year the worst of the worst criminals are going to be sent up there because they're no longer allowed on Earth, or they're no longer accepted here. And the government has set up a lottery, and the lottery chooses 2 police officers every year to be trained to take these prisoners up and to man the station for a year. When they're up there, there is an artificial intelligence on the ship that kind of does the day-to-day stuff, and these guys are just there more to babysit, I guess, is the the best term. The prisoners are all in this, we called it the pigsty. They're there, they can't go anywhere, they can't do anything, but they kind of want to make sure that they're not going to hurt each other, they're not going to do anything like that. The kicker, though, is that when these cops go up, they're sent up with a gun, and they're given the same number of bullets as prisoners that are going up. So they've reached maximum occupancy in the station. So when they go up, they've got to off the same number that are coming up with them.
Yeah, I love that whole concept. And like you said, it led up to that. I mean, you didn't get hit in the face right at the beginning of what these guys were going up for and what they were going to have to do when they got there. And when they gave them the ammo, that's when they kind of broke it. That, hey, you got 12 prisoners. Here's 12 rounds for the shotgun. And it doesn't say how they're going to expose the bodies or anything. It's just.
And we get there, yeah. When we get up there,
I'm hoping.
Yeah, issue 2. Like I said, issue 1 is always tough because you got to set the table. You've got to get these characters. You got to show where they're coming from. You got to show where they're going. Issue 2, we meet the 2 officers that have been up there for a year, and they kind of walk us through as they're walking our main characters through daily life up there. They're like, this this room is for this. This is what you do in this situation. This is how you get rid of people. This is what you need to do. And they kind of do it rapidly because they want to get out of there. They're like, you know what, our year's up. I want to go home. I don't want to be up here anymore. But we walk you through that process, and you kind of get, the idea of this is what the day-to-day is like up here. And it's funny because Brian has been great, and he's gotten I mean, he's good, but he's gotten better. Like issue 2, he'll send me the pages and stuff, and it just some of the stuff is just like dorky stuff that I threw in, like, you know, one of our main characters, and I guess to go back to issue 1, or the whole synopsis is that one of these guys going up there is going up with an agenda. Like he's been waiting for this day, and he's been waiting for this, you know, opportunity to go up there, and you know, he's super excited for it. The other cop, not so much. You know, it's like, I don't want to do this. I didn't sign up to do this kind of stuff. But you know, we put in some like sci-fi dorky stuff, like the antagonist falls asleep when they're flying up to the prison, and you know, the pilots are here, and then our 2 main characters are here, and one of the characters like just all of a sudden snaps and wakes up, and he yells "Khan!" and like all everybody else is just kind of looking at him like that, and then he's like, "Oh, you Star Wars fans?" So it's kind of,
Yeah, I did notice even in Adrift, you know, there's a couple of little pop culture references that characters make. Like I think in SpaceCooler they even referenced Knee and Nub. I mean, that's a pretty deep pull from Star Wars.
yeah, we try to drop some stuff in there to, you know, to keep the interest and keep it moving, but.
Yeah, but like you said, so I'm guessing those 2 cops that are going up are going to be, you said, the main characters then?
Yeah, so they're the main, plus, you know, our guy on the cover there, the Crowbar Killer. So yeah, and I based it, the characters, and I'm hoping that, you know, we didn't offend anybody like that, but being in New Mexico, I based one of them as a state trooper in New Mexico. The other cop is just like, you know, your average everyday white guy, and he's from upstate New York, where like I'm originally from Ithaca, New York. So I kind of tried to tie in, you know, that these are like total polar opposites. You know, one guy's in New Mexico, one guy's from New York, but he's from rural New York. And so I'm hoping that as we go on and you see more of their personality, that you know, it's interesting, and you know, it flows for the readers.
And they are pretty much opposite. Like you said, the one's a family man with a kid, didn't want to leave. The other one is looking like he's got some kind of revenge.
So he is. He's got an agenda. Yeah, he's been waiting, and we drop some hints in. If you know, look at the panels and you look at some of the newspaper clippings and stuff like that, we kind of gave a little, you know, some away, and the way he talks, and kind of the way that, you know, that he's looking at this as, you know, he's been waiting for this perfect opportunity. So he has to be, you know, the alpha. He's setting that tone right off the bat.
Yeah, and he does. He's pretty much the, for lack of a better word, he's the prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what he's going to do, and he lets everybody know exactly what's going to happen when he gets up there. He's taking charge. So issue 2 is where I'm guessing we're really going to get introduced to a bunch of the inmates. And
yeah, so you do. Yeah, issue 2, we start with a flashback, and we take you back so that you can see where the Crowbar Killer comes from and what he does. And then we kind of show you where he's at on the prison while we're getting our main characters there. So they're on the shuttle, they're on their way up, and the pilots kind of talk to them a little bit about formality and the, you know, how it works, and you know, that when they get there, that they're going to leave in like 6 hours. You know, like, we get here, we dock, you unload, we get the new guys, or get the old guys, you guys go in, and then we're done. You know, we're out. So, you know, just be ready. You're going to be on your own after 6 hours. And then that'll tie in issue 4, because it's only a 4-issue miniseries. In issue 4, it kind of runs like a timer on the episode. It's, you know, everything is happening quickly, because it's like, okay, these guys are all on schedules. Like, we're out of here. You know, we don't care if you're having a problem. We don't care, you know, if there's something else. It's not our problem. You know, our job is our job is to fly the shuttle. So we're out of here. So you're on your own. But yeah, it should be good. Brian finished issue 2 like a week or 2 ago. So he's on to issue 3 now. The scripts are all done. He has all the scripts and everything. And he's sent me pages and stuff, and it looks good. You know, our letterer is pretty quick, so that'll be turned around pretty quickly. Brian does everything as far as art digitally, so colors, inks, you know, all that stuff. So issue 2 should be January.
So where can people pick up issue 1 now so they can get started on it and get ready for issue
so
2?
so that's the weird thing is like we pitched it and we didn't to like a handful of publishers, and we didn't get a response, or it wasn't for them. So we kickstarted it and did that. I'm actually setting up a Gumroad shop, hopefully by the end of next week. So we'll have them there. We're trying to get like local shops to, like the local shops here in Albuquerque all have it, because I think they like the Andy Coon cover. So that was like, they wanted that. So issue 2, when it comes out, we'll more than likely kickstart it again. But I've sent out like letters to some of the shops and stuff, like not just locally, but like around the US to see if they'd be interested in carrying it. We're not looking to get rich off from this. We just want our story to be out there. And interestingly enough, we're in talks to get it optioned now. So
for a movie, TV show, or
movie?
Oh, yep. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, in the next couple of weeks, we have a couple meetings, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully.
Well, you guys do have a Netflix center up there in Albuquerque now, so maybe just take it, knock on the door. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I mean, I would love to carry it. I'll talk to you offline about this, about having it in Zia Comics. Maybe even have you and Andy come down and do a signing or something.
Yeah, Andy's been really good. And it was funny with the cover because, like, when I was a kid, my dad had this 68 or 69 Camaro Super Sport. And I'm like, Andy, it needs to be, I can't remember what I told him if it's 68 or 69, but I was like, it needs to be this Camaro Super Sport. And then he sent me the image. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I think I mean, I'm not the only one who thinks it's good, obviously, or you wouldn't have got optioned. But yeah, this is if your local comic shop does not have SpaceCooler, you might want to tell them to get it. And it's going to be, you said, on your site.
Yeah, we're still like, it's been like crazy that as bad of a year as it's been productive for me. Like I've got supposed to be 3 comics out this year, and it's like I'm not knocking out novels because there's days that I look at the computer and I'm like, oh man, I can't write anything today. but to put out 3 books has been pretty good. But yeah, we'll have the Gumroad shop set up. We did shirts, so we have shirts with like the Andy design on them, with Victor's, with Jimmy's. And it's funny, Jimmy like wants to get back into drawing, so he was like, yeah. He's like, well, I'll do it, and then he's doing another cover for me for a different book. So
it's good to have friends like that.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to plug?
No. Well, next year, I put together this book, and it's going to benefit the Hero Initiative, and so all the proceeds, minus the production costs, will go to Hero Initiative. And basically, I reached out to a bunch of creators and just said, hey, I want to do this book, an anthology book. If you could do like a 5-6 page one shot that we'd put in there. And basically the concept is hero and however you interpret that. So they can do anything they want, just related to hero. So I wrote, and Phil Hester's drawing my story. And so like mine has a superhero in it, but they're not the main character. They're like a side character. So there was that. Andy Parks is writing, and Keith Wilson is drawing. Paul Kupperberg wrote a story that Steve Irwin is drawing. Trying to think of who else. But we've got enough to do like 40-page book. So.
And for people who aren't familiar with the Hero Initiative, can you tell them what that is?
Sure. So the Hero Initiative is basically they help creators in the industry that are facing, health crisis, homeless, things like that, where they could really use some help financially. And so a lot of creators will donate time, or they'll do a sketch or original art, or they'll sign prints and donate them to the Hero Initiative. Hero Initiative will sell them on their site, and then all those proceeds will go to help those creators that are in need.
It's a very good cause. So if you guys see this book, know that if you buy it, the money is going to help creators. Okay, I think we covered SpaceCooler pretty well. I'm waiting for issue 2 myself now, and we're going to probably carry the whole thing in the store and the trade paperback if you ever combine it.
We will. Yeah, we that was one of the thoughts that Brian wanted to do, was to do the whole thing, to kickstart issue 1 and then kind of put the whole thing together and then put out the trade. But I think, we need to do the issues just because, again, issue 1 is always that, set the stage. There's not a ton of climatic stuff going on. We got to get you to that point. So yeah.
And it does, like I said, that and Adrift both, it ended, and I kept looking for more pages as I wanted more of the story. So you guys look for both of those stories. And any of the other ones we covered earlier, Down, Chosen.
Yeah, Down is still, we're getting there. So Down will be probably middle of next year for issue 1. The Hero Initiative book, the goal is February, March. We started out strong because nobody's really doing anything, and then it was pick your pencils back up. We're going to go back to work on the mainstream stuff. So kind of slowed down a little bit, but we've set a deadline. So
2021 is going to be all Fenton.
Yeah.
so look for his name, guys. Wanted to thank you again for coming on here for doing my silly little show and
thanks for having me.
Answering all of our dumb questions. Can't wait for all your books and SpaceCooler. Lots of New Mexico talent in there, from the cover to the writer, so you can't go wrong, guys. So thanks again, Mark, for doing the interview.
Sure.
All right, later, nerds.
Get nerdy with me. Tell me what game that you get on. Is it card or read? What kind of class do you play, girl? In an RPG?